We are back again for another edition here of Bengals Breakdown. We're going to be doing winners and losers from the Bengals preseason win last night against the Washington Commanders. Because it is still the preseason, I want to do more winners on this video. I don't want to just load it up with losers by any means. So definitely have more winners on this one. Before we get into that, though, the Bengals will be taking a visit today with Dalton Risner, the offensive free agent offensive guard. So if you want the Bengals to sign Dalton Risner, get down there and like today's video for me right now. All right, the first winner from last night's game is going to be Mitchell Tinsley. He absolutely went off in last night's game and really, I think, went a long way into shoring up a roster spot for him on this Bengals 53-man roster. He had 5 receptions for 73 yards, averaged over 14 yards per catch as well. Those 2 touchdown grabs, you can see that one right there was in that back corner of the end zone. Had the little toe tap as well, got both feet down. It was a really, really good night there for Mitchell Tinsley. Zach Taylor in the postgame press conference called him a baller. Joe Burrow was asked if, he thinks he's going to make this Bengals roster, and he said, I sure hope so. So I seriously, after last night's game, he gave himself a really good chance to make this Bengals 53-man roster. Obviously, you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Andre Yoshivas. And then after that, I kind of have a feeling it's going to be Charlie Jones, Jermaine Burton, and Mitchell Tinsley. We'll see about Isaiah Williams. He might have an opportunity, carving out some special teams roles for him. But at the end of the day, Jermaine Burton also plays special teams, and so does Charlie Jones. So Isaiah Williams might be the lone man out there because Mitchell Tinsley, man, he really did show out during last night's game, and he is definitely our number one winner. So let me know down at the pinned comment of today's video, does Mitchell Tinsley make this Bengals 53-man roster? Type Y for yes or N for no down at the comment section of today's video. All right, my second winner from last night's game was Tycen Anderson. I thought he played a whole lot better than he did in that preseason Week 1 game against the Commanders last night. He had 4 tackles, but then also did have that interception, had another PBU as well, and you can take them with a grain of salt all you want, but the PFF grades were really, really solid for Tycen Anderson as well. He had 72.7 coverage grade and an 80.8 overall grade. So, I like to just kind of go in the, where is the range for some of those grades? It's not, was he a 72 point whatever? Was he a 50 point whatever? I like to go in kind of those range there. The interception as well came on a 9-play drive where the Commanders were driving down the field, and he picked it off on the 3-yard line. And I will say it was kind of a bad throw, but he was in the right place at the right time, and he was able to create a turnover. And we're still going to have to see about how he plays next week, but I think last night's play for him goes a long, long way into seeing if, he can make this 53-man roster as well. He also played 10 snaps on special teams, did have a missed tackle there, but, if he can go out there and play special teams and play well on special teams, he can definitely carve out a roster spot for him this season. All right, my winner number 3 against the Commanders is Jake Browning. I thought he played a whole lot better than he did in Week 1. He looked a whole lot more comfortable out there, and it seems to me like there absolutely is no quarterback to battle for this Bengals team. Jake Browning last night, 16 of 25, 159 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also did not throw a pick. I think that's very notable, and from what I can remember, I don't even think there were any plays where, the Commanders dropped interceptions or anything like that. He took care of the football. Desmond Ridder only played 5 snaps in this game, and a couple of those came on those kneel downs as well. So, like I said, I thought Jake Browning looked a whole lot more confident last night. He had command of the offense, and it did help that you had a guy like Mitchell Tinsley out there making some really nice plays for you. But, some of those throws were right on the money for Jake Browning as well, throwing it where only his guy can get it. So I definitely have more confidence in Jake Browning after last night's performance. My winner number 4, how about the running backs? I thought all three of the notable running backs for the Bengals played really, really well in this game. Tahj Brooks, Kendall Milton also got some run in this game last night. And Chase Brown also had a really, really nice day on the ground for the amount of, times he was actually able to carry the ball. Tahj Brooks, 11 carries, 4.3 yards per carry. He had 47 yards, and yet again, half of that, just about 22 yards, were after contact. Kendall Milton, 9 carries for 22 yards. That doesn't look great, but he had 22 yards. 23 yards he had after contact. So, I mean, it's kind of insane that you can have more yards after contact than you had total yards in that game. I think that shows just, he was kind of running behind that Bengals, third and fourth string offensive line. So he was at least out there, running really hard. He's another guy. It's going to be hard maybe for him to make this Bengals 53-man roster because you're definitely going to have Chase Brown. You're definitely going to have Samaje Perine. I think Tahj Brooks is well on his way to making this roster as well. So to me, it's kind of going to be between Gary Brightwell and Kendall Milton. Gary Brightwell got some run last week, didn't play a whole lot last night, but then Kendall Milton had some opportunities last night as well. So, I think there's a chance that the Bengals take 4 running backs this year. It might end up only being 3, though. Maybe one of those guys can contribute on special teams. Thought Brightwell had a really good game last week in the return game for the Bengals, but they've got other guys that can do that as well. So they might be on the outside looking in for the Bengals on this roster cutdown time. Who was your biggest winner for the Bengals last night versus the Washington Commanders? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section of today's video. Another good winner from last night's game was Charlie Jones. There was last week, there was somebody in the comments that was saying cut Charlie Jones. That is absolutely not going to happen. Charlie Jones is one of the most consistent wide receivers, backup wide receivers that the Bengals have right now on their roster. Last night, 4 receptions for 32 yards, averaged 8 yards per catch. Also had the nice touchdown grab as well. Now, he did have one drop. It just is what it is there. Every now and then people have some drops. So I have a lot of confidence in Charlie Jones. In my opinion, I think he's probably your wide receiver 4 right now for this Bengals team. There is no way he is not making this roster. We'll continue with the losers side here in just a second, but today's video is brought to you guys by Prize Picks. Preseason football is underway and college football is also back in action. So don't miss any of the action this season on Prize Picks. I personally use Prize Picks for a ton of different sports, whether it's professional football, baseball, basketball, college sports. Prize Picks has so many options that you guys can run. Prize Picks is so much fun, and if you guys know ball, you can win real money all season long on Prize Picks. And make sure you guys also check out these deals as well. Dak Prescott, his normal stat projection would be 239.5 yards. It is a deal right now. The NFL max discount right now. Dak Prescott, only a half passing yard. That one is super easy. As long as he plays in the game, he is going to throw for that half passing yard. I guess unless you're Aaron Rodgers and get hurt on the first play of the game or whatever it was there for him. But if you see these, make sure you get them in your Prize Picks lineup. Prize Picks is super simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If your picks are right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks also invented the flex play, which means you can cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks does not hit. So download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. I'll put that link down in the comment section and the description of today's video. It's Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, with winners, there also has to be some losers, and I think your number one loser from last night's game was how bad the first team defense was. The first 2 drives of the game, this is how they went. Deebo Samuel on the first play for the Commanders went an end around from left to right for 19 yards. Chris Rodriguez off the right side for 40 yards. Chris Rodriguez off the right side for 1 yard. And then Jaden Daniels scrambled right up the middle for a 14-yard touchdown run. The second drive of the game, that first drive, by the way, was just all on the ground, just right down the Bengals' first team defense's throat. And then the second drive, Ja'Cory Merritt run off the right side for 5 yards. Josh Johnson, short pass for 12 yards. Ja'Cory Merritt, 27-yard touchdown run. It was like a knife through butter. Chris Rodriguez had 6 carries for 62 yards last night, and he only played in the beginning of the game. They have to be a whole lot better than that. I was really hoping that those interior guys were going to have a better showing and step up for this Bengals defensive line. And that kind of performance is going to get the same results that the Bengals had last week in missing the playoffs, because the defense just, it looked absolutely terrible. And, I understand it is preseason and, they're doing kind of a vanilla defense and not going out there and, putting their entire playbook on the field. But, at the end of the day, it's about doing your assignments and hitting the right gaps. And the Bengals were really just, they had so many holes out there at the beginning of the game for that first team defense. That is not going to cut it. So what is the biggest weakness right now on this Bengals defense? Is it, your defensive line? Is it the linebackers, or is it that secondary? You can choose whether it's the corners or the safety. There's a lot of issues right now on this defense. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section of today's video. All right, my second loser here today is Lucas Patrick, and not necessarily because of, his play last night, because he also did get injured. Now, there was one play in particular that sticks out to me where he did get beat. It was, that crazy play where Joe Burrow was kind of running around and finally took a sack of, I don't even know how many yards he got sacked for there, but Lucas Patrick got beat on that play, and that's kind of what caused Joe Burrow to start running around. And, Zach Taylor did say that he got a little bit banged up in this game. There's a clip out there on Twitter that you guys can see where he kind of engaged the defender and immediately just kind of reached for his pec. Couldn't really tell right or left. It kind of just looked like he, kind of grabbed right in the center of his chest there. But, we're not sure right now on the severity of that. But the Bengals are not in good shape right now at that offensive guard spot. They are bringing in Dalton Risner for a visit today. So we'll see if that turns into a signing for the Bengals. And if it does turn into a signing for the Bengals, we will have another video today for you guys. So do not miss out. Make sure you are subscribed right here to Bengals Breakdown. We will continue to keep you guys updated on all the latest from the Cincinnati Bengals, and we'll be live for as many games as we possibly can be this season. So do not miss out. Hit that sub button. If they sign Dalton Risner, we'll have another video out for you guys today. All right, my third loser from last night's game was Demetrius Knight Jr. He just had a couple really, really rough reps there to start the game. It looked to me like he was hitting some of the wrong holes. He was getting sealed off. And, he just got worked so hard on one of those really big runs early on that he actually got blocked into Logan Wilson, who was trying to come over and make the tackle. So it was kind of a 2-for-1 block there because Demetrius Knight hit the wrong hole. It's what it looked like to me anyways. I understand he's a rookie and there's going to be some grace period for him, but look, you're through 2 preseason games now. You only have one more. The season starts on September 7th. You took him in the second round for a reason, because you thought that he could be a day one starter for you. So, it's really coming down to it now. You have to get some production out of Demetrius Knight Jr., because if the Bengals go out there and they let Joe Flacco cook them, I'm afraid it's going to be another long season for this Bengals team.